estaba diciendo pues hablando que primero que todo darle pues como las gracias por aceptar la invitación a muchas personas pues como de Colombia. Es algo que agradecemos bastante porque muchos no tenemos la oportunidad de pagarle una clase a él o algo así, y él está haciendo pues esto como de corazón, ¿cierto? Él no está, digamos, como cobrando nada, lo hace realmente porque le gusta mucho esto y porque quiere que muchas personas aprendan. Entonces, como darle las gracias por eso, porque lo hace pues por pasión. Y le pregunté pues como que, oh my God, le pregunté que nos iba a enseñar, que iba a hablar hoy, y nos dice pues que él va a hablar como de dos habilidades que son extremadamente importantes, que él considera que son esenciales para llegar al nivel, pues al top level, como al nivel máximo pues en el que él está, y que después de eso va a estar como respondiendo algunas preguntas que ustedes tengan sobre técnica, sobre eso, y pues ya como ayudarnos a resolver mucho. Entonces, intentemos pues como ir al punto para que aprendamos bastante y les voy traduciendo listo. So, let's go, Brandon. Let's learn about you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so the two things, I gave a similar kind of master class to like the local schools over Zoom recently, and the two skills will be the first one is faster legato strokes, and then the second one is faster upstrokes. So kind of molar, but like really fast upstrokes.
Ok, so, entonces, bueno, Brandon nos está diciendo que las dos habilidades que él va a hablar es de hacer como legatos de manera rápida y upstrokes de manera rápida, ¿cierto? Entonces, let's go.
Cool. So yeah, so let's talk about faster legato strokes first. The thing I like to think about with this is when you get to a faster tempo, right? So when we're first playing legatos, sometimes that's the first exercise we play, right? So we play slow, maybe like 8 on a hand. Something like that to warm up. And something I like to do is just play maybe the same tempo that you were going to play that at. And also, after you do that, you can try it as triplets too. And I can explain the technique if you want to translate first, Michael.
Okay, yeah, but let me just translate this part and then go ahead with that, okay? So, bueno, lo que está diciendo Brandon, pues que algo que le parece muy importante es como los legato strokes, ahí los estaba mostrando, el hacerlo pues como en ochos, que es lo que él empezó a hacer, que era básicamente hacer corcheas, que es como lo primero con lo que uno empieza a calentar y eso, y después como pasar a hacerlo en triples, que es como, dice pues que él, que es algo pues como de lo más importante de lo que quiere hablar y que nos va a explicar como un poco acerca de la técnica de esto. So, can you talk about the technique about this?
Yeah, for sure. So the technique that I like to think about with this is try to stay as relaxed as possible, and I think try to make it as efficient as possible. Like each stroke, it's like as little work as you can to make it sound good still.
Okay, let me translate this. So, él dice pues que es como muy importante estar muy relajado, lo más relajado posible a la hora de hacer los golpes, como hacer el menor esfuerzo posible a la hora de hacer esto, que no haya tensión, que siempre estar muy tranquilo y como sentir bastante los golpes, pues es como algo que él nos cuenta pues acerca de esta parte.
Cool. Yeah. So and then so when we're doing that, so it's sometimes when we get faster, people like to use their fingers a lot more, like this.
Yeah.
Right? So you're dropping your fingers a lot, but that makes it hard to still control the timing and the tempo. So I think it's important to still try to use your wrist. So don't let your back fingers off the stick too much. And you can still see, like when I do this a lot, my wrist feels like it's moving a lot. So I do that. And then when I am doing this, I also start a little bit lighter, like a little softer. You can play like mezzo piano. And then just try to make it feel as easy as possible. And that's kind of the technique that you want to try to have when you go faster or higher.
Listo, entonces me está diciendo que la idea pues acá es como mover mucho la muñeca, ¿cierto? Él dice que hay muchas personas que intentan como hacer este tipo de golpes usando los dedos porque digamos que se vuelve más rápido, pero que él dice que esto no es muy bueno para mantener como la constancia rítmica, la sonoridad de eso, entonces que es muy importante no sacar los dedos y mantener siempre usando como la muñeca, y entonces nos muestra que siempre que hace esto se ve mucho la muñeca y no como esto, entonces es más como muñeca. Y que hacerlo digamos, en una dinámica más baja primero para empezar a controlarlo como mezzopiano, ¿cierto? E ir subiendo cada vez e intentar hacerlo como lo más tranquilo que se pueda hasta lograr como un buen control de esa parte.
Cool. So here's an exercise that we do. We do this at Blue Devils a lot, actually. That I can just explain really quickly, and then hopefully it's easy to translate. But basically, what we're doing is we're doing 4 counts of eighth notes and then 4 counts of triplets, and we do that on both hands, and we do that, and then we do 2 counts of each, but we do it more times, and then we do just 1 count of each, and we do it more times, and that gives us kind of a workout of the like slower legatos, higher, and then also lower, faster legatos that are more relaxed.
Listo, entonces nos dice que una de las cosas pues que de los ejercicios que más hace él es esta que nos está explicando acá, es un ejercicio que hacen en Blue Devils que se llama pues como legatos. Y él dice que la idea es que hacen como 4 tiempos de corcheas, 4 tiempos luego en triplets, y empiezan pues como a combinar de a 4, luego de 2 tiempos, luego de a 1, y así sucesivamente como para buscar exactamente como ese sonido relajado y el control de todos estos golpes, que esto lo hacen en Blue Devils. So can you play that for us?
Yeah, for sure. So here it goes. So I'll play around this tempo. Okay, and then the one thing I'll say about that, when I'm playing those triplets, I'm playing them pretty low because I want to have that just relaxed, really soft technique.
Listo, entonces ahí nos estamos dando el ejercicio que estaban haciendo, que era pues 4 tiempos en corcheas, luego en tresillos, ir bajando de 4 a 2 y luego a 1. Y él dice que pueden notar como cuando hacen los triples abajo, la parte de los tresillos, él está muy relajado, muy tranquilo y golpes demasiado bajitos, ¿cierto? No está exagerando la altura, súper suave y controlado. Entonces eso es lo que nos está mostrando ahí.
Cool. So yeah, so the key, so as we go faster, if you're playing triplets at that tempo, or if you're just playing eighth notes or any kind of rhythm, but it's a faster tempo, that's what I try to do, is try to stay just as relaxed as when I'm just doing this with one hand. And that's, I think that's really important for becoming advanced, because that you use that technique for a lot of fast stuff, like faster single strokes and, faster paradiddles, stuff like that. So, there's a lot of like drum corps vocabulary that uses that technique. It's like really fast singles and paradiddles. And I can demonstrate something with that too, if you want. But if you want to translate first, go ahead.
Okay, go. So, lo que está diciendo era que, pues él dice que eso es demasiado importante porque digamos que el aprender a controlar esta técnica a velocidades muy altas es algo que ayuda mucho, porque ellos siempre usan esta técnica de usar pues como los giros de la muñeca y estar muy relajados cuando van a hacer single strokes, que es vendría como pues ese tipo de golpes muy rápidos que hacen con la muñeca. Pues la idea es como controlar siempre la misma técnica, igual cuando hacen los paradiddles y cosas que son un poquito más avanzadas, siempre usan esta técnica. Entonces que por eso para él es un ejercicio como tan importante, y que es muy importante también para alcanzar pues como el nivel avanzado y llegar a drum corps.
Cool. So I can demonstrate like the Blue Devils 2013. This is part of what they played. You'll see like it uses a lot of singles, and so when I'm playing those singles really fast, I'm using that technique of staying really relaxed and just being able to feel relaxed for all of that, so that I can keep doing that at such a fast tempo. So I'll play part of that right now.
Okay. So clean. Bueno, entonces lo que nos está diciendo Brandon era que ahí nos acaba de mostrar como una parte del show de 2013 de Blue Devils de la Percusión, donde ellos dicen que hacen muchísimo uso de esta técnica, donde pueden ver que hay demasiados singles y muchos como cambios en la dinámica que de hacer como esos cambios, y el hecho de controlarlo también es como tener esa técnica muy bien practicada, y lo pueden ver con la tranquilidad como él lo hace, ¿cierto? No está tocando durísimo, los golpes están bajitos, está bien el control de la muñeca, y por eso es que él logra mantener también la estabilidad rítmica. Entonces acá nos muestra por qué es importante el ejercicio que estaba haciendo.
Cool. So I think that's all I have on that. And then yeah, and can you let people know like if they have any questions about that or like the next technique I show, or like for for the rest of the lesson, if they I just want to answer questions that anyone has about anything. So you can tell people they can feel free to ask questions.
Ok, Brandon está diciendo que si de pronto tienen alguna pregunta, algo que le quieran hacer mientras que él va explicando, que lo pueden hacer como para ir tocando todos los temas dentro de esa técnica. Si tienen dudas, preguntas acerca de eso, que lo hagan, que él está algo de responderlas. So over here, we have a question like, someone is asking, is someone from Argentina, which is a different country, not Colombia, but it says, just you do these kind of things only when you're doing the warm-ups or also when you're playing the performance into the show, like this technique, doing these things, just in the warm-ups or also in the show?
It's also in the show. I think that's why it's important to practice it as a warm-up too, because when you're warming up, you're working on that same skill, which you have to do sometimes in the show music. So like the Blue Devils part I just played, that was part of their show, and so they had to use that same technique, and so that's part of why I think it's important to work on it.
Listo. Ahí responde la pregunta de Nacho, que si esto lo hacían solamente en los warm-ups o también en el performance. Brandon dice que ellos se preparan para el performance con estos ejercicios. Entonces, claro, ellos hacen esos ejercicios para controlarlo mucho y a la hora de hacer el show, que tengan una estabilidad rítmica brutal, ¿cierto? Entonces, eso. Over here, we have another question, which is for Gavin Clark. It says it's from America, I think. It's asking, okay, what's the right spot to hold the sticks in the traditional grip?
Okay, good question. I think it's a little different for everyone, just like where you're most comfortable, and like some people have bigger hands, some people have smaller hands. But in general, you want to try to hold the stick kind of, like with your thumb and your index finger, or like, wherever your fulcrum is. You want that to be the place where the stick rebounds the most. So if you were to like just drop the stick on the drum and you don't drum it, you just like drop it, then the place where it has the most rebound like that. So if I go too far up, I only get one note maybe. And then if I go too far back, I only get like one or two notes, right?
Yeah.
But somewhere in the middle, you get a lot of rebound naturally, and that's easier to work with, I think.
Él dice que, pues eso, okay, the person who asked that is a person who basically speaks English. I think I don't have to translate this, but okay, I can translate this for the Colombian people. Okay?
Sure. I'll say, and then the left hand,
okay.
It's kind of similar idea, but I think that's like where you hold it right here between your thumb and your index finger, is you want that to be the spot where it rebounds the most. And so usually those two will be the same spot, is the thumb and index finger roughly, and then your left hand kind of the right here between your thumb and your index finger.
Okay, so le hicieron una pregunta a alguien pues que es como de Estados Unidos también, que le estaba preguntando como cuál es el punto exacto en el que uno debe agarrar las baquetas. Entonces él dice que era una excelente pregunta y que esto digamos que ayuda mucho en el futuro, porque él nos mostraba pues con ejemplos muy gráficos que si cogía la baqueta muy abajo y la dejaba caer, la baqueta no rebotaba bien, ¿cierto? Entonces era como buscar un punto en el que él dejaba caer la baqueta y la baqueta seguía rebotando naturalmente. En ese punto es donde uno tiene como el rebote máximo de la baqueta y puede aprovechar mucho ese rebote, porque él dice que básicamente nosotros no estamos como tocando, sino como aprovechando el rebote del instrumento para tocar. Lo mismo en la mano izquierda, como cobran un punto en el que uno siente que la baqueta está rebotando naturalmente y no pues por acá atrás que no rebota tanto. Ustedes van a empezar a mirar el punto en el que rebota bien y ahí sería como el punto correcto, que por lo general es el mismo punto en ambas manos, ¿cierto? Si ustedes lo miran, es como donde uno tiene el mismo rebote en ambas manos. Entonces esa era la pregunta que estaba haciendo. So thanks so much about that. Other question is, how to don't get a lot of tense when you're doing faster diddles?
Faster diddles. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's another one I think is important, for advanced stuff, is people play a lot of fast rolls. I think best way to not get tense is try to stay relaxed, right? And it sounds kind of, it sounds wrong, right? The faster you go, you have to work harder, right? But try to stay relaxed, especially like the back fingers. I think it's okay to relax. Like, you don't want them to fly off the stick, but you can have them, they don't have to squeeze the stick like into your hand. So it's okay to relax them a little bit. That helps me to get faster diddles on my right hand. And then kind of same idea with the left hand. You don't want all the fingers to fly off, but you don't have to squeeze the stick with your fingers like that, right? You can let them kind of move around a little bit. And then I also use my arms, right? So don't try to just use your wrist or your fingers. It gets really hard at a faster tempo, so don't be afraid to use your arms as well.
Listo, entonces acá la pregunta de Chain, de Daniel Cadena, que cómo no tensarse en los brazos al hacer tiros rápidos. Brandon nos dice que realmente es muy importante como no tensar la parte inferior de la mano, que es como estos 3 dedos de acá, que la idea no es sacar los dedos, pero tampoco como mantener la baqueta squeeze. Squeeze es como muy apretado, ¿cierto? Muy tensionado, sino relajado, que pues que pueda haber como un buen, como una, no sé, una buena libertad de la baqueta y poder pues no sé cómo hacer los rolls sin presionar mucho acá atrás, porque eso es lo que tensa mucho los brazos. Y lo mismo en la parte de la mano izquierda, no empezar como a sacar esos dedos de abajo, pero tampoco pues como apretar la baqueta mucho, sino como ser capaz de, no sé, de mover el brazo sin tensionar esto. Y usar mucho los brazos, mucho los brazos. Él dice que si hace con muñeca es demasiada tensión, entonces usar mucho los brazos, ¿cierto? Es muy importante.
Cool. Do you think we should answer more questions now, or should we do the second technique and then do questions?
It's another question here. Is how to get good control in the heights for the flams?
Ooh, okay. That's a good question. Good control in the heights for the flams. I think part of that is just being able to play good accents and taps, like on just one hand. So making sure, if you're just playing one hand, accent tap, you have to make sure that those are good difference, right? So if the accent's kind of low or the tap's kind of high with one hand, then it's going to be hard to do with both hands. Because when you're playing flams, right, that's basically what you're doing, right? So if I'm playing flams, just one, right, left. If I play with just one hand, I'm playing accent tap, right? So you want to be able to do that with both hands. Is just work on one hand at a time. Control the low tap and then bringing up for accent and coming back down.
It's like most basic in the upstroke. I think it's when you're going to do this kind of things.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to talk about this, I think, later with the second skill. So,
mm-hmm.
Okay, la pregunta que le hice pues a Brandon era como la que hizo Carlos Ruiz, cómo tener un buen control de la altura de los flams. Él dice que es muy importante como separar las cosas, ¿cierto? Cuando él va a hacer los flams, básicamente está haciendo una sentada, que es como... Entonces que si uno puede controlar esta parte, entonces va a ser capaz de controlar el flam cuando lo haga como... ¿Cierto? Entonces que intenten como separar las manos. Trabajar primero una mano y luego, es que... I think they can't see me so good here. Es como intentar relajar un poquito la mano, hacerlo con una sola y después pegar los flams. Y no cambiar como la técnica, ¿cierto? Mantener lo mismo, es lo que él nos intenta decir acá. Y Brandon understands Spanish? I don't know.
Not really. No. Not that good.
Okay, so let's go ahead.
Cool. Okay, so the second technique I wanted to talk about is just a fast upstroke, right? So when I'm thinking upstroke, I mean going from like a tap to an accent really fast. So that would be like kind of like this, right? So I'm playing taps, but then really fast after that, I have to kind of flick up for an accent. And that's used for a lot of different rudiments, a lot of really hard rudiments. You can think like inverted flam taps or pataflaflas. A lot of like difficult flam rudiments that utilize that kind of skill. So that's the next one I'll talk about.
Ok, so, bueno, Brandon nos está diciendo que ya, pues, como hablando un poquito de la segunda técnica, porque nos contó que nos iba a hablar de dos habilidades. La primera era los legatos, pues, como la rotación de la muñeca, que es completamente importante para paradiddles, singles y muchas cosas que nos explico ahora. Ya estamos tocando la segunda habilidad, que nos está hablando de los upstrokes. Los upstrokes es cuando, pues, estamos como con la baqueta abajo y subimos. Quedamos como... Ese tipo de cosas, como ser capaz de subir rápidamente la baqueta y lograr como esa altura, que porque esto se utiliza mucho para los rudimientos más complicados, como nos estaba mostrando, que son como los flam, I don't know, inverted flams, como flams inverted. Lo mismo para los pataflaps, ¿cierto? Como que este tipo de cosas que estábamos mostrando es muy importante para controlar eso, el upstroke, ser capaz de hacer esto, tener buena altura. Entonces, sí, eso era como los que nos contaba ahí. Let's go.
Cool. All right, cool. And yeah, Michael, your upstroke looked really good. That looked really good when you're doing that.
It's like...
That's very good. Very fast.
I think in my right hand maybe, because in my left hand is like shit.
Yeah, it's easier. Maybe it's easier on the right. Cool. So, yeah, for everyone to, work on this, the exercise I like to do is just, there's like two similar versions you can do. So one of them, the rhythm is just 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and then you just do that on the same hand for however long you want to. So you can just play it as 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Right, and so when you're going from the and to the next to 1 or 2 and a 1, that's when you have to do the quick flick or upstroke to get to that accent. And the second version is you just play the same thing, but you just play it on 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. So that would just sound like this: 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and.
Do you guys do these kind of things in the Blue Devils camps, like these kind of exercises?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do stuff like this, and then also stuff that's stuff that builds on it. So things that are a little more complicated, but they incorporate this like that skill.
Listo, entonces ahí le estaba preguntando que, pues nos estaba contando como un poquito como el ejercicio pues que nos estaba contando el upstroke, ese tipo de cosas, y nos decía que uno de los ejercicios que hacen mucho en Blue Devils es ese, ¿cierto? Primero empiezan como y luego en la segunda variación como directamente desde el tap. ¿Cierto? Que lo hacen mucho. Yo le pregunté que si ese ejercicio lo hacían mucho en Blue Devils, me dice que sí, que ellos como que lo cogen, lo hacen como base y empiezan a meterle cosas y a meterle cosas y eso termina una cosa súper complicada, pero que eso es como la base de todo, que es muy, muy importante.
Yeah, cool. So the kind of the technique behind that, and then also some of the common problems I'll talk about now. So the technique, I try to think about when you're going from the tap up to the accent, try to start with the beat of the stick, right? So sometimes
it's easy. I think it's so important, right?
Right, yeah. So sometimes it's easy to go like that, right? You want to lift up your arm first or your wrist, and that's more, if you're playing drum set, or something like that, just by yourself, that's okay. And a lot of drum set players do that, and they do it really well. But for marching percussion, since we're trying to do things like as similar as possible, it's a lot easier. Everyone comes up from the tip of the stick, right? So lift up. Try to lift the tip first as opposed to your hand first.
Ok, listo. Acá Brandon nos dice que algunos de los tips más importantes a la hora de hacer ese tipo de ejercicios que ayudan mucho es porque uno muchas veces tiende a cuando va a hacer ese tipo de upstrokes, oh my god, my bad. Cuando uno va a hacer como ese tipo de upstrokes, como que la gente intenta hacer esto, como girar la muñeca primero. Él dice que bien, pues está bien que alguien use esa técnica, pero que eso es más usado para otro tipo de cosas, que en la percusión marching siempre se intenta que la punta sea la primera que suba. Entonces que no se vea como esto, sino como que la punta la primera al subir. No tan ese tipo de cosas. Entonces siempre buscan que la punta sea la primera al subir. Siempre la punta de primero, siempre la punta de primero. Es algo muy, 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 muy importante.
Yeah, cool. And then a really common problem is because that's a really high effort, right? You have to put in a lot of energy to lift up after you're doing the taps. So a lot of times the rhythm will sound like this. So if I was playing that, like the 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a really common thing is to put too much of a gap between the taps and the accent because you have to take time to get up. So sometimes people will play that and it sounds like 1 and a 2 and a 3, right? Because you have to have a little bit of a break to get up. But you want to try to play the rhythm as accurately as possible. So you have to put in a lot of effort to make that faster. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, so that there's no gap in between.
Listo, él dice que muchas veces la gente también tiende como a que por ponerle demasiada energía o demasiada fuerza a la última nota como alzar demasiado el brazo, entonces hace que se genere el gap, que es como un espacio más grande de lo habitual entre las notas y pasa que ya no suena el ritmo como por estar metiendo esa energía. Entonces que hay que intentar como mantener el ritmo con la mayor capacidad rítmica posible, bien estable, y que sin embargo suene como el golpe con energía, pero sin abusar pues de los brazos, como siempre muy relajado. I don't know if I'm doing okay, but I'm just trying to show.
Yeah, sounds good.
Eso es lo que está empezando a decir y dice pues que no sé si se me veía bien, pero me dice que sí, que suena bien.
Cool. And then some of the rudiments I explained like flam rudiments, right? So like inverts or cheese inverts, right? That's the same thing, right? If I was just playing one hand. it's the same thing we worked on in the exercise. But then also when you're playing stuff really fast, kind of like the thing I played before, when you're playing, you know, fast single strokes or paradiddles with accents, then you have to do a pretty fast upstroke. So if I'm playing single strokes, you know, I'll just play threes. So like.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
Something
Okay.
happened. Everything's
So
fine.
yeah, so if I was playing that, but at a really fast tempo, I have to be able to lift up the stick really fast to get the accent. Right, so that if I was just playing one hand, that sounds like. So after those 2 taps, I have to lift up really fast for the accent again.
Yeah, that's why you play Blue Devils. Bueno, entonces ahí nos está diciendo pues que realmente ese ejercicio que nos estábamos hablando de los upstrokes, que él dice que es muy importante porque cuando ya uno va a hacer flams invertidos, flam cheeses o esas cosas que son como, hay que tener como mucho control del upstroke porque si usted lo separa es como, es el mismo ejercicio, ¿sí? Es hacer lo mismo con los cheeses. Como hacer el mismo ejercicio, entonces que por eso los upstrokes son tan importantes y también cuando van a hacer singles o paradiddles muy rápidos, cada vez el upstroke se tiene que hacer mucho más rápido para poder mantener el control, entonces que hay muchas personas que pues obviamente no estudian eso así, o sea, piensan más como en el paradiddle como tal, pero no en la figura que es complicada pues del ritmo como tal, que vendría siendo el upstroke. Si uno no domina el upstroke, eso no va a sonar. Entonces él dice que es muy importante y nos mostró pues cómo hacía eso y hacía los singles. Y es lo mismo, es como hacer el mismo ejercicio que estaba haciendo él. Puro upstroke, accent, taps, esas cosas pues que nos está mostrando ahí. So go. I don't know. There's like a lot of questions over here about all these things.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. So yeah, so we can answer questions about that technique, and then also if anyone has questions about anything, they can ask too.
Okay, so let's go over here. Alejo Guerrero 86. Brandon, how to unbelievable technique. It's like he's asking like how to get a really good technique when someone is watching you, like to make the sticks in the same height, you know. That's what he's asking basically.
Yeah, okay. My favorite thing, I always practice in front of a mirror. So like in my bedroom, like where I practice, actually one of the walls is a mirror. And so I always practice in front of that to see, so I can always watch my heights and I can see what someone else would see, right? So that way I can see if one hand is too high or one hand is too low. I can always try to match them together.
Bueno, él dice que algo para mejorar, como acá la pregunta Alejo, que cómo tener una técnica bien y pues y que las baquetas se vean parejas, es que siempre practica frente a un espejo. Él dice que él siempre que va a tocar tiene un espejo en el cuarto, tiene un espejo en la banda, tiene un espejo en todas partes, entonces que siempre mirarse al espejo para poder organizar como las alturas y que se vea bien. Over here there's another question, which is, ¿cómo podemos controlar tocar? He said, I think this is a really good question. How to get more control at the time when you're going to play pianos or mezzo pianos or rhythms so low, you know? Without sounds like dirty or something like that.
Yeah, cool. So the first thing is just everything that you practice, also practice it at piano, because that's, you know, sometimes, you know, that's like we're just not as used to playing low. So, you know, when we play exercises, we play them like maybe higher height, and then we sound good at that. But because we didn't practice them at a low height, then we don't have the like same skills but at a low height. And then the other thing I would say is when you're lower, it's, you know, try to think about less energy, right? Because you don't have to go as far, right? You don't have to go that far. As opposed to going this far, you have to put in more energy. So trying to put less energy, maybe like thinking also like lighter. So you don't have to hit the drum as hard when you're playing lower. I think those would be things I would say for that.
Ok, listo. La pregunta de Braulio, que cómo puede tener más control a la hora de tocar piano sin tensarse mucho, que suene sucio. Él dice que realmente es porque muchas personas intentan ponerle demasiada energía a las notas bajitas por pretender que son muy duros y que realmente un piano es un piano, tiene que sonar pasito. Entonces que cuando están haciendo este tipo de cosas, toquen muy suave, muy relajado, no le pongan tanta energía y siempre intentar estudiar la música y los ritmos. Primero en piano, pues como bien controlado abajo, ir subiendo la altura porque igual es más fácil tocar duro. Entonces él dice que si no controla bien abajo, se puede controlar mejor arriba. Es normal, over here, it's our question. Okay, es normal que después de un evento terminen doliendo las muñecas. Okay, this is someone asking if maybe after you do your performance, I don't know, in the show, it's normal that my wrist is pain after just playing. He's asking if that's normal, if it's not, if I'm playing bad, what happened? Why my wrist is pain?
Yeah, so I think you want to try to avoid pain as much as possible. So if you're experiencing a lot of pain from just playing a little bit, then maybe your technique is not good. Maybe you're squeezing too much. I think that's common thing is like if you're squeezing too much, your fingers or like your wrists are too tight, then when you hit something that causes a lot of pain, like a lot of tension for like your joints. So I think that might be part of it. But during drum corps, we play a lot. We play like 12 hours a day. So when we do that, it's the muscles, become like fatigued, like maybe sore and like tired. But you want to try to avoid any kind of sharp pain or anything like that.
Bueno, él dice que acá que si es normal que le duelen las muñecas y eso, él dice que pues si le están doliendo mucho es porque hay algo malo en la técnica o está apretando demasiado, pero que eso pues no es normal, que si es normal que uno se canse, que de pronto le duele un poco de tocar mucho tiempo, pero no pues que le sea un dolor pues así como insoportable, entonces que de pronto pueden ser como errores técnicos y así. Okay, I want to do like a question. This is like a question from me. So, what do you guys think, or when you're going to do like some changes in the rhythms that are like really different? Like, for example, you're playing doubles and I don't know, just get like a ninelet or something like that. What is in your mind? You can just do that changes without so much effort. I don't know. What do you guys think in this kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that's like such a hard thing. And we spend a lot of time on that. Like anytime we have to change between two different rhythms, that's something that we have to work on a lot, right? So we have like what's a good example? So like I can't think of a good example right now. Maybe I'll think of something. But yeah, whenever I just like this is even like any drum line that I teach too. It's like we just take the two things that we have to, the two rhythms. We'll just practice those two rhythms, right? So if it's like one of the schools I teach, like they have a roll exercise, switches between 16th notes and triplets, and so we practice that a lot. We just practice switching between 16th notes and triplets. So we'll just play 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a triplet 2. Cool, and that's something that we do a lot. Is just take one count of the new thing. Of the new rhythm, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a triplet stop. And then if you can play that first one together, then it's probably easier to play the rest of the triplets together, or or whatever the other rhythm is. So I just do that a lot. I just take one count of the new thing, the new rhythm. That helps a lot to kind of figure out what you need to do, because a lot of times, with different rhythms, when you're switching between them, you have to change something in your hands. So just practicing that will help you to understand what you have to change.
Okay, because for example, in the marching band where I'm playing, we have like a part in the show this year. I think I'm not going to translate this to Spanish, but what I'm saying is that, okay, for example, this part in the show, we're doing like a lot of different rhythms. I think that's very easy for you, but for us, it's like a little bit complicated. When we just do like a bush roll with crescendo, and then change to the double deals. Right, and then it's triple, and then 4 pings, and then like 16 notes. It's like that, and it sounds like, and it's like a little bit difficult because it's a lot of things to change. I don't know, in the mechanics of the motion of your hands, and after that, it's kind of like a part of. It's like a lot of changes in the rhythm.
Yeah.
It's like that part, but have a lot of
changing.
So that's what I'm trying to say. That what we can think when you're going to play these things, or to make that easier, to sound more clean, because it's not something so clean that we really want. So that's
right. The way that I would work on it is right. So it's like you have like the buzz roll part, and then the rolls, and then the threes, and then the shot like 16, right? Yeah. So each of those, I would just practice just like go from one to the next one. Just practice those ones, and then if you can nail that, then you're like, okay, so now we know how to play those two, and then take that one and the next one. So like the second and the third one, try to play those two together, and then you say, okay, now I know how to switch between the second and the third one, and then you can try and then you can do third and the fourth one together, and then you can try putting them together bigger, so you can try the first three, and like, okay, now we know how to switch between 1, 2, and 3. This is the first rhythm, second rhythm, third rhythm, and then you could try 2, 3, 4. Like, okay, now we know how to switch between second, third, and fourth, and then you can put them all together, and then see if that helps, because then you know how to switch between every single one.
Okay, I'm going to take care about that. Okay, listo, les estaba preguntando pues como algo pues como acerca de una música que tocamos nosotros y eso, que pues que podíamos poner porque tiene muchos cambios rítmicos, muchas cosas diferentes en un momentico. Entonces yo les estaba preguntando como qué tipo de cosas piensan ellos a la hora de tener esos cambios, como cuando usted está tocando semicorcheas, de repente pasa un nonillo, un septillo, o cosas que son tan extremadamente pues, diferentes. Y él dice que primero es como intentar hacer cambios rítmicos, supongamos de pasar de semicorcheas a pasar a tresillos y solamente hacer el primer beat del tresillo, que sería como chocolate, 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 ta, 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 solamente el primer tiempo, ¿sí o qué? Que porque si uno es capaz de tocar solamente el primer tiempo, la primera figuración que va a cambiar bien, lo más seguro es que las demás suenen bien. Entonces que siempre es como tocar un ritmo y hacer el cambio del otro, solamente el primer conteo, que sea bien estable y luego ya hacerlo todo. Y luego le mostré pues como una parte de lo que nos tocamos, donde decía como, listo, cojan el ritmo 1, la parte 1, donde sigue la parte 2, que es como un cambio de boss rolls a dobles, que suene bien, luego cojan entonces esa es la que sigue, luego esa es la que sigue, luego la 1, la 2 y la 3, luego la 2, la 3 y la 4, 3, 4 y 5, luego 1, 2, 3 y 4, luego, ¿sí me entienden? Como ir siempre pegando de a poquito y esperando que suene bien, ya cuando suene bien, ahí sí tocar toda la parte completa, ¿cierto? Nunca hice como tocar la música así porque sí, sino como limpiar parte por parte, irla uniendo de a poco y ya después tocarla completa. Okay, let me just write something here, 1 second, because there's like a lot of questions over here. Okay, let me just hit here. Hola, quiero hacer que dice Okay, some question here is what can we do to play polymorphics in a really more big sound and more clean with open sound?
Yeah. Cool. I'd say you can work on first right. It's like, oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Try to work on like there's two rudiments, right? In a Shirley Murphy, you have the padada, which is just, and then you have threes, right? So you have padada 3, padada 3. So try to work on those two things separately, right? So make sure that you can play these, and like the double stroke is smooth, and then you can work on the threes. Make sure that you can play the threes, strong, and then try putting them together. And since it's it's kind of different because you're changing hands each time, like starts with the right, left, right, left. Because of that, you can break it down. So maybe you could just take 1/2 at a time. So take out the 3, and make sure that that's a good triplet 1, triplet 1, triplet 1. And then you can try to take out the padada, just play the 3. Make sure that that's good. 1, triplet 1, triplet 1, triplet, and then try putting it all together. And try to still hear the rhythm. Triplet, 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 triplet. That's how I would try to approach it.
Listo, para la pregunta que hicieron que cómo hacer los polymorphics más abiertos, él dice que es bueno siempre separar las figuraciones, empezar con los padas, que son como el... ¿cierto? Y después con el... y ya después empezar como a pegar los ritmos. Pues básicamente es como separarlo bien, pensarlo primero individual, si nos suena bien el pad, ya podemos pensar en pasar al triple, y hasta que no nos suene bien eso, pues como ya no juntarlos, porque entonces va a pasar lo que normalmente pasa, que nos suene mal, que nos suene sucio, que nos suene cerrado. Entonces primero como hacerse consciente, empezar a hacer cambios como tan en cada mano, pues empezar a cambiar de a uno, primero 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, luego 1, 2, ese tipo de cosas, pues como hacer esos cambios y luego mismo con ustedes. Y ya después que se juntan siempre va a sonar pues como mucho mejor. Over here is another question that is in English. How can you make it easier to count polyrhythms like 4 and 3 and like 11 and 6? Not sure if I'm talking this great because I don't know how to pronounce that in English, but I think you understand. I'm not sure. Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah, I understand. So I think the easiest way to think about it is think about the right. So it's like the first one is 4/3, right? So 4 and 3. Try to think about the one that it's over, right? So 4/3 is like you could think 4/8 notes in the space of 3/8 notes. So what does 3/8 notes sound like, right? So you could just play that 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and when you're playing with the metronome, that sounds like 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then when you can hear that, then it's a little easier to say, oh, okay, so that's 3 notes, and then I just put 4 where the 3 notes were. So instead of 1 2 3 1 2 3, and you kind of think like the accent, the first note of each one, you keep that the same, right? So 1 2 3 1 2 3. So that accent is going to always stay the same. It's in the same place, but you put 4 notes in between. One. So I can't really say that and do it at the same time, but that would sound like this. Right? So if you took out all the taps, hopefully the accent should sound the same, but you're just playing more notes in the space of of where 3 notes was. So that's how I break it down.
I think this is gonna be a little bit hard to explain, but I'm going to do
Okay, sorry.
Okay, lo que está diciendo pues Brandon era como, bueno, le hicieron una pregunta que qué hace él cuando piensan esos ritmos combinados que son como 4 2.3 o 11 2.6 que colocó por acá Mania underscore WB, no, I'm sure who is him, pero en todo caso pues él como pregunta eso, Brandon le dice que es como empezar, que el primer número es como la cantidad de notas, ¿cierto? Y el segundo número es la cantidad de tiempos en la que él va a meter las notas. Entonces, por decir algo, si él tiene 4 corcheas en el lugar en el que caben 3, donde habrían 3, es como meter un golpe más en lo que sería el tiempo de 3. Entonces empezó pues como a hacer la explicación, como siempre pensar en cuál es el número, o sea, pensar en el segundo número, cuántos tiempos tengo para meter esas notas. Entonces, si estamos hablando, por decir algo, semicorcheas, si tenemos un 4-3, sabemos, o no sé, supongamos corcheas, sabemos que tenemos que meter 4 corcheas en en el tiempo de 3 corcheas. Entonces, ya se mueve un poquito la figuración, ¿cierto? Yo creo que eso es un poquito más avanzado, de pronto las personas que no saben leer muy bien, se les complicará un poco entenderlo, estoy intentando explicarlo de la mejor manera, porque es complicado, la verdad, pero espero pues que me entiendan. Entonces, como siempre, pensar en en el segundo número. El número de tiempos que tengo para meter la cantidad de notas, e hizo el ejemplo, dijo que no era pues como capaz de contar el tiempo y tocarlo porque es un poquito difícil, pero luego lo marcó y lo hizo y es como básicamente eso, piensen en el segundo número. I think that was a little bit hard to explain, but okay. So, okay, some other questions that are over here is like, what can you do can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, so sorry about that. I think it's my internet. I don't know. But, okay, I would like to ask, what do you think we're going to play like paradiddles in a really faster tempo, or what is about the technique? Because, for example, when I'm going to play paradiddles so fast, my hands begin to get like a little bit tight, and I'm trying to just play more relaxed and think about all things that I know, but it's like a little bit hard. So maybe some exercises we can do to just get a little bit lighter the techniques to can play the faster paradiddles and all those things. Ok, creo que perdimos a Brandon. Hey, la gente me escucha. Okay, over here again.
Hey, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, so you were asking about playing faster paradiddles, right?
Yeah, I get so tight when I'm going to play the faster paradiddles, so not sure what can you tell about these, some exercises, I don't know.
Yeah. When I'm playing them faster, one thing you can do is just play like one hand at a time. Right, so a paradiddle one hand just sounds like, right, so you have to play accent, double stroke, and then a tap. and just work on being able to control that faster. When you're getting faster than that, it just I try to think like smaller motions. So like all that I try to make really small, right? So I'm not going really big or anything. That makes it harder to play faster. And then the other thing is being able to do fast upstroke, like I said, right? Because after that tap, you have to come back up for the accent, and that's pretty fast. And then the other thing is being able to play a fast downstroke, right? So after you play the accent, you want to play the double stroke pretty low. So play the downstroke, and then being able to play the tap right after that is helpful. Okay, and yeah, so one more you could do is just playing like one paradiddle at a time. So instead of just playing all paradiddles, you could just start with the right hand paradiddles, and then switch to the left hand paradiddles. And so that, yeah, so there's an exercise that I like to play that's like kind of like this. And then at the end of that, you can play more you could finish with like 2 bars of paradiddles. Right, so just working on one hand at a time might help you to also just figure out the technique for that hand, and then when you put them together, maybe hopefully it's easier.
Ok, listo. Yo le estaba preguntando, hablando como un poquito acerca de los parailes, cómo hacer para tocar parailes más rápido y que no se tensione mucho. Y entonces me está diciendo que realmente es como empezar a practicar los parailes por separado, ¿cierto? Dice que siempre tienden a practicar todo por separado. La primera mano del paraile solo es como... Entonces como pensar en siempre que la parte, pues como lo que son los dobles de abajo, estén realmente abajo, ¿cierto? No sea como relajado. Pensar mucho en el upstroke, que es la subida, y el downstroke, que cuando haga uno el down, la baqueta sí le queda acá, pues como abajo para poder hacer los diddles. Y lo mismo la mano izquierda. Y empezar a estudiarlo como por separado. Y luego nos muestra una versión que es como, I think it's... So, something like that, I don't know. So, empezamos a hacer este ejercicio, como empezar a hacerlo por partes, empezar a combinar, pero siempre buscando que sea muy relajado, que los downstrokes sean rápidos, que los upstrokes sean rápidos y que las notas de abajo no se suban mucho. Y que a medida que vaya subiendo la velocidad, ir como descendiendo la altura. Pues que también es muy complicado hacerlo tan alto, pero pues eso depende mucho como de la velocidad del upstroke, ¿cierto? Entonces, como unos buenos consejos que nos da ahí. Okay, someone's asking something here that I think I don't understand. Is thoughts on front fulcrum versus back 3 fingers?
Cool. I think I understand. I think they're saying, you know, it's like, do you drum mostly from the front of your hand or kind of hold on from the back of your hand? And so I think I don't think there's one answer, and it's, you know, when you're playing different things, they require different amounts of finger to be on a stick. So if I'm playing really fast, kind of like we were talking about, like really fast diddles, my back fingers are kind of pretty far off the stick, right? So I don't want them to be all the way off so that I don't have control, but they're pretty far so that my stick has a lot of room to move. Right, so that's kind of front fulcrum, right? I'm holding on mostly with the front of the hand. But if I'm trying to control something more, right, like slow accent tap like that, right, I'm not going to have quite as much space in the back of the hand, right? So my fingers are going to be close. I don't think I ever really squeeze with the back 3 fingers. I don't think I ever really start anything with the back 3 fingers. I think I'm always kind of in control from the front. And then like the amount of, like, you know, it's like if it's faster, I might have a little bit more space for the stick to move around. If it's slower, I might have a little bit less space.
Listo, entonces acá una pregunta que si él usa más como la parte de adelante o la parte trasera del grip. Entonces él dice que eso depende mucho como de las cosas que él vaya a tocar. Por ejemplo, si va a hacer rolls o cosas así, él por lo general hace mayor presión como en la parte delantera, que es como el fulcrum, ¿cierto? Y cuando va a hacer, digamos, cosas más controladas como ese tipo de acentos y taps, presiona más como en la parte trasera de los tres dedos, pero que eso depende mucho de lo que vayan a tocar realmente, no es como que uno diga siempre adelante, siempre atrás, no, eso varía mucho como con lo que no vaya a tocar, como lo que así básicamente está diciendo él. También quiero pues como aprovechar para decirles chicos que no sé si, can you show your drumsticks, Brandon?
Yeah, sure.
Las baquetas que está usando Brandon Olander son unas Team Fairbanks, right?
Yes, yeah.
Estas baquetas las vende Imperando Marching Store. Yo también tengo estas mismas baquetas. Son brutales. También tengo pues como este pad que es el Evans Real Feel. Todo ese tipo de cosas las pueden adquirir en Imperando Marching Store. Entonces para que cualquier cosa que quieran adquirir, las baquetas que está usando Brandon, también las de Scojo, todo ese tipo de baquetas las vendemos en Imperando. Entonces para que si les interesa cualquier cosa, envíen un mensaje. Siempre van a estar pues como disponibles ahí a la venta. Entonces, para que las compren por si les interesa. Si alguien por ahí también vi que preguntaron como, ay, ¿dónde consigo esas baquetas? Bueno, Imperando Marching Store las vende. Someone was asking like, where can I find those drumsticks? So I was just saying that, okay, in this page, we sell the drumsticks, so you can buy the drumsticks over here. So that,
Cool.
that was, okay. Someone is saying that advice to help with cheeses.
Cheeses. Okay. So the same thing kind of like for Shirley Murphy's, right? It's like it's two rudiments combined, right? So it's a flam and then a diddle, right? So being able to do both of those separately, you have to do them both separately before you can play them together. Right? So you have to be able to play a strong double stroke and be able to control a flam. And I think a lot of times people's cheeses, it's you know, maybe the diddle is too tight or the flam is too open, right? So we can't control that. Being able to control those two things will help you a lot to play the cheeses. And then when you're playing different cheese rudiments, like a triplet, you basically want to control the flam so it's really tight. You can barely hear the flam. Like if it was really open, it would sound really weird. And then the diddle, you want to make sure that that's a good rhythm, right? So like the rhythm, you still want it to sound like I think that's kind of.
Acá están haciendo como una pregunta acerca de los chistes y él estaba pues diciendo que es bueno como hacerlo por separado, pensar como primero el doble, ¿cierto? Y como no cambiar la interpretación del doble a la hora de meter el chiste, como que sea como lo mismo, porque hay mucha gente que tiende como a hacer mucho el chiste y tiene como, y dice que eso no es correcto, es como más pensarlo pues como con la abertura que es y lo mismo con ambas manos. Is that good? I don't know.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, entonces nos dice pues como que es muy importante como pensar primero la figura individual y luego combinar, ¿cierto? Siempre. Okay, the other question I have from me is like, what do you think about the pop flams and the normal flams? You know, like, because I have heard from someone who basically, for example, Andres, who played in Carolina Crown, I think you know about him. He always asks us to play like pop flams to try to hear like a more clean when we're playing together, all the snare line. So try to play pop flams as much as we can. So I would like to know, for example, what is the, I don't know, what do the guys from the Blue Devils think about the pop flams? Or what's the difference between, because I know someone is East Coast, all there's West Coast, it's a little bit different. So not sure, what do you guys think about this?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think a lot of groups do it differently, right? So maybe Carolina Crown, maybe they do pop flams. And then like, I also know like Pulse Percussion, the indoor drum line, if you know them, they like to do popped flams. So like they try to, so they, you know, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's, you know, when you're playing a flam like that, you want to put the notes at the exact same time, so it just sounds like one note, which is kind of hard to do. But the reason that they do that is, you know, because it's a lot easier to make it clean, right? So if everyone's playing two notes, it's hard for everyone to play the two notes the exact same space. But if everyone's just playing the one note, then they only have to clean that one note. But at Blue Devils, we don't do that. We still try to keep it as a flam. But I'll say in general, like most drum corps and like indoor drum lines, they want your flams to be really close, really tight. So, you know, because if you have a really big flam, like it's hard for everyone to be able to do that together the exact same way. Boo-da, boo-da, boo-da. But if you have a really close flam, then even if everyone is a little bit off, then it still sounds mostly just like a flam. Right, so I don't think any of those were popped, but they were all really close, right? And so they didn't sound, none of them sounded like Buddha. So if I was just playing that and then someone else was playing with me, it would still sound pretty good, and it would just sound mostly like flams.
Listo,
So
pero
that's
le
kind of
estaba
a good.
preguntando. Ok, le estaba preguntando pues como la diferencia entre los pop flams y los flams abiertos, que mucha gente pues como el East Coast hace el pop flams. Entonces nos decía que Carolina Crown y Pulse Percussion hacen pop flams, que es como intentar hacer que el flam suene igual al mismo tiempo, como que no solo golpe. Pero dice que por ejemplo Blue Devils intenta siempre mantener el flam abierto, ¿cierto? Es como una diferencia, porque y no también muy abierto, que intentan cerrarlo lo suficiente, porque cuando ya es como así es muy difícil de limpiarlo entre todos. Limpiarlo es como que todos suenen juntos, entonces siempre intentan que la nota, el flam, sea lo más cerrado posible. I'm not sure if this is sounding okay, because all the time I'm trying to play like pop flams. Like pop flams is like, I think are really much better than the other ones, but yeah, just trying to do that. Okay, so what can you tell us about the flam drags? How to clean flam drags, okay, how to go faster with flam drags, how to think flam drags, I don't know, everything about the flam drags.
Flam drag? Okay, cool. Yeah, I can talk about it. Cool, and I think I have time for maybe this and then just like one more question after. Okay. So flam drag, it kind of combines a lot of technique about, right? So it combines flams, and then it combines diddles, which we only talked about a little bit, and then it combines fast rebound stroke, right? So if I'm just playing one hand, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so it combines also like a fast rebound stroke, right? So we have to play 3 notes in a row when we do that. So flame drag, like if I'm just playing with one hand, so I'm playing the 3 notes. You want to stay relaxed for those, and then you have to play a diddle on the last one, right? So that's a good tool for everyone. Is just try it with one hand, and what does it sound like with just one hand? And then you can practice that. And that can help you kind of play it and like figure it out more. And then like something you can practice with that is I think that's like the hardest part is the 3 notes, and then the last note is the drag. So you can just play that. You could work on it. So you could just play like triplets, and then practice putting the diddle on the last note. An exercise like that will help you, I think, with the low taps for the flam drag.
Listo, dice que algo pues que pueden hacer mucho para hacer los flam drags es como, bueno, dice que la parte más complicada es como las 3 notas, hacer como ese cambio ahí. Entonces que enfatizar como mucho en esos 3 golpes, ¿cierto? Empezar a trabajar individual esto. Individual como el... I think it's more open. My flam drags are more open, I think. It's a little bit hard, but okay. So lo que Brandon dice pues es como intenten que esa parte, que es como separar el flam drag con una mano, lo piensen individual, con una mano y lo mismo con la otra. Pensarlo así y siempre pensar que lo más difícil es como esta parte de acá. Después nos decía como que hiciéramos triples y luego meter el doble como en la última nota. Como para buscar como ese sonido del flam drag e ir trabajando ese tipo de ejercicios para ir yendo cada vez más rápido. Sirve mucho, mucho, mucho. Okay, and I think the last question would be like, when you're going to do like egg beaters, not like, because, for example, you know, I bought your solo, I was just practicing your drum solo, and there's like a part when you have like a 6 duplet notes with one hand. That's impossible to play, I think. Like, that sounds like...
Yeah.
What do you do to can't play egg beaters with those, with that sound? Because I'm hearing, for example, your solo, you're doing paradiddles, and when you change your hands to do like that, sounds the same thing, the completely same thing. So
yeah. I think like I think it's up to like 4. It's pretty like that's like makes sense to like practice it. But then after four, like to play like fives or six or seven, you don't really have to learn that. Like it's you don't like that's not really like something you have to play with the drum line. But just like working on that's kind of how I got to that, is just working on more and more strokes per hand, right? So egg beater, right, it's like 3 and then 2. So I was like, okay, so let me work on just 3s, right? So that's something that everyone kind of works on that. As you get faster and faster, as you practice it more, you kind of remember what it sounds like to play 3. And you're like, okay, I'm playing 3 notes, or maybe I'm playing too many notes. Maybe I'm not playing 3 notes. And then you kind of like develop your ear for it. And then you can do the same thing with 4s, which I play a lot of 4s in my solo. And it's just, same thing as like build it faster and faster. And like eventually you kind of hear it, and you can kind of hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 at a really fast tempo to make sure it sounds good, and that it doesn't sound like that, like a bow stroke. And I think a lot about it's like it's just like kind of controlling the rebound with your fingers. You don't want to start the thing with your fingers. It's like a lot of arm and wrist, but the fingers help you to make sure you're playing only 4 notes instead of a bunch of notes.
Because I can see that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, after that, like 5 or 6, like you don't really have to practice that. That's like only if you wanna show off.
Yeah, because I can see that most of the drum corps are doing these kind of things. For example, Boston Crusaders.
Yeah, they
also
play a lot
guys
of
like your 2019 Blue Devil. All those things also in the Circus Portland. That sounds perfect. So yeah, that's what I was asking for, because it's something like I think I can play good egg beaters with 3 notes, and I used to practice something like. It's like the exercise that I used to play when I'm going to practice that, but I was thinking like what to do to exercise. Sorry about that. So yeah, 4 notes. I'm going to practice that, absolutely. So maybe something you want to talk, you want to say to the people. You're saying that I know you have to go. I really appreciate your time here. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Hopefully people learned something from it, and hopefully they enjoyed. And yeah, maybe we can do this again in the future. It was really good to see you, Michael, and your drumming looks really good. It looks really good. So I'm excited for. How old are you, Michael?
I'm 22 years old right now. I can't play cool. DCI. Hopefully, I'm going to march DCI someday, but I can't play DCI right now. It was too expensive to me.
That's okay. Right.
Yeah, Colombia.
Yeah. So, sorry, what was that?
Yeah, in Colombia, it's so hard to pay like a tour in DCI, because we have to pay for the visa, we have to pay the flights, also the tour, housing, fooding, everything. It's completely expensive.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, your drumming looks good, and I'm excited for everyone in Colombia who's drumming.
Thank you so much about that, Brandon. Okay, so let me just translate this to this, guys, to just finish. Brandon les está diciendo pues que muchas gracias pues como con la invitación para todas las personas que estuvieron acá, que espera que hayan podido aprender algo de él, que espera que hayan disfrutado mucho la transmisión. Me está diciendo pues que yo tocaba pues bien, que me preguntó que qué año, cuántos años tenía, como para lo de marchar en drum, que era muy complicado pues como pagar ese tour. Me dijo pues que sin embargo tocaba muy bien, y que pues que realmente se siente pues como muy agradecido de tocar pues con personas que son buenas, y que en Colombia hay mucho talento realmente. Hay varias personas que tocan muy bien y que está muy feliz como de compartir conocimiento con ustedes. Entonces, okay, Andres is over here. Nice to see you doing this, Brandon. Andres Castañe from the Carolina Crown. It's over here also. And yeah, that's it. So thank you so much to you, Brandon, for accepting this invitation. You know, it's really important for us have people like you here that we never mind that someone is going to teach for free, you know, because you're doing this for passion, I think. And it's something that we really appreciate. And Colombia is really grateful with you for all those things you are doing for us. So thank you so much. Thank you so much in the name of Imperando Marching Store, also from Colombia. And, you know, you're like an idol for all of us. So thank you so much for that, Randy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hope to
I
see
hope
you again.
everyone. Yeah, I hope we can do it again. Hope everyone enjoyed it too. All right.
Okay,
I'll
sure.
see you later,
Have a good
Michael.
day, Brandon. Bye.
Thanks, you too. All right, bye everyone.
Bueno, entonces ya Brandon se despide, ahí nos está pues como dando las gracias por todo, también les quiero dar las gracias a todas las personas que estuvieron participando. Para terminar, recuerden las personas que estaban preguntando dónde pueden conseguir las baquetas de Brandon que estaba utilizando Brandon. Estas Team Fairbanks las pueden encontrar en Imperando Marching Store. El pad que usa Brandon Olander es Code B3 Invader pad, también lo pueden encontrar en la página de Imperando Marching Store. Este pad que utilizo yo, que es un Evans Real Field, también lo pueden encontrar en la página de Imperando Marching Store. Todo tipo de baquetas Promar, pads y lo que sea lo pueden encontrar ahí. Solo pueden preguntar ahí las baquetas que tenía Brandon o el pad que usa Brandon Olander. Todo está en la página de Imperando, domicilios a todas partes del país. Entonces, cualquier persona que se interese en comprar las baquetas, el pad, saben que bienvenidos sean. Imperando siempre están felices de ayudarlos. Muchas gracias por participar y espero pues que nos veamos en una próxima ocasión. Listo. Muchísimas gracias y thanks so much for all the people that were here. Over other countries, you know, it's also important for us to have people from other countries trying to learn from a person like Brandon Olander. So thank you so much to you guys also for coming here to learn something and to share some time with the Colombian people. We don't play like you guys, but absolutely we want to do that. So yeah, we're just trying to do our best to play like this and really grateful for all those guys that basically you are here to learn and share your time with us. So have a good day and let's see you sometime, okay? Nos vemos luego y muchas gracias por participar. Nos vemos.